Hi, everyone. Welcome back to a Monday edition here on Liquid Lunch. I'm Fernando Uribe, filling in for the great John Tobacco. He'll be back later on this week. Now, folks, as a reminder, John Tobacco is on Newsmax right now as well. So do us a favor, watch us both. You can keep streaming us here online. And of course, on your local cable system, check out John on Newsmax TV. Joining me here right now is the very distinguished Jennifer Bohr Cuevas. She is a licensed clinical social worker here in the tri-state area, and she's also a trained disaster mental health worker specifically, and her specialization is in man-made disasters. Jen, Merry Christmas to you. Hope you had a wonderful holiday, and hope you're well. And over the weekend, we saw the tragic incident taking place in Nashville, Tennessee. Really, we're still scrambling for answers. And for someone that, again, has a specialization in man-made disasters, how critical is it for those working the scene, for those involved, whether first responders or everyone else, how critical is it right now to at least have the best mental health or at least the best state of mind during a tragedy like this?
It's very critical. I have to say, I was very surprised that there were not more fatalities. Thank be to God. And there were 3 injured, I believe. And the only fatality was the suicide bomber himself, Anthony Warner. It is very critical that we take care of the mental health of the first responders, the people who are investigating the disaster, and for the people who were living in downtown Nashville. Because even though there weren't any fatalities, they are still the survivors of an immediate bombing, and they will show symptomatology of PTSD. So it's very critical.
Now, Jen, I know you've been following this story in the last 72 hours. And again, my heart and prayer go out to everyone affected down in Nashville. It's a great town, to say the very least there. But do you think the media right now presently is telling the truth about what really happened? We know that when it's come to these sort of disasters, we learned about this through Las Vegas, the Las Vegas shooter, and other things. Again, I don't want to sort of be that conspiracy theorist guy on this program, but it just seems that oftentimes the media isn't always forthcoming and accurate when they're trying to report what's going on. Do you think we're hearing the whole story, or are you hearing something different?
I don't. And I've been on scene of man-made disasters where they do hold back information from their investigations they hold it back from the media and the public until they're sure that the information that they are gathering is accurate. And I have to tell you, I mean, this was a really very elusive sort of an attack. But I have to tell you, I do not think, in my opinion, that it was international terrorism. I do believe that it was probably some sort of a lone wolf event. And I think that they're trying to profile him and figure out what his lone motives may have been.
Now, one of the things that has made it not so tragic, oftentimes, whether it's Nashville, Las Vegas, other cities around the country that have experienced this sort of, let's call it what it is, domestic terrorism.
Right.
More times than not, the city and its residents are left scrambling about what to do. Just from your experience, though, Jennifer, what does the city of Nashville go from here?
Well, again, I mean, this is devastating to them. This was a disaster. Again, even though there were no fatalities except for the perpetrator, they are still going to experience the PTSD. They are going to experience being the survivors of the immediate bombing. They're going to experience the emotional and physical reactions that come with all of that, the grief, the anger, the survivor's guilt. Many people may not be familiar with the term survivor's guilt of, well, why was I able to get away from this? Why was I the chosen one to survive this or not be injured? Lots of emotions. But I will say this, I do find that survivors of man-made disasters are very resilient, or they learn that they are more resilient than they could have ever imagined. And they can carry on to rebuild and carry on to have a normal life.
And without question, Jennifer, normalcy is the goal here after something so traumatic. Uh, Listen, I'm sure I speak for many of us watching today. We're so glad that 2020 will be over in a few days, and we're hoping that we can sort of do a reboot and reset and start off 2021 on a more positive note. Working in the field, what has been the feedback in terms of your presence in the community here in the tri-state area in terms of people reaching out to you? And oftentimes, do you feel inundated or swarmed by the amount of people that reach out to you because they really do need that mental health release?
In terms of everything that's been going on this year?
Yeah, correct. Yes.
Oh yeah, I've had lots of people reach out to me, and I hope I've been able to give what they need. But you know, COVID was considered a natural disaster. So you only have two kinds of disasters: the man-made and the natural. So we have all endured a natural disaster this year, and we're not done. But I think we will find. Oh, I apologize for that.
Okay.
I think we will find that we are resilient and we are pushing through. We are learning the lessons that have been put forth to us that we were meant to learn this year. And hopefully now, like you said, we can take them into 2021 and get a start over.
Well, Jennifer, one of the things that is really intriguing about your line of work is, when it comes to the medical profession, we always hear, hey, listen, the reason I go to my doctor for a physical is to make sure that I'm physically well, right? We get a blood work, we, again, get a physical examination. But more so, I think that our mental health or getting a mental checkup is equally as important, I think, especially during these very tumultuous times. And I say this to my students always. I'm like, listen, it's not just about going to your doctor. When you're younger, you feel kind of invincible. You don't feel that, well, I can avoid going to the doctor. I don't need a physical. I feel fine. But more so than not, your mental health, I think, has to go hand in hand with your physical health because, again, the body can't operate without the mind.
You're absolutely right. And I'm so glad that you're bringing this up. Most of us, if there's something wrong from here down, the neck down, we don't think twice about going to the doctor and getting taken care of. But it's time, for people to really focus on their mental health as well and take a holistic approach to their health. The mental and the physical go together, and it's important to take care of both.
Absolutely. Jen, before I let you go very quickly, 2021 is upon us. I know it sounds like very cliche-ish, but I have to ask, any New Year's resolutions?
New Year's resolutions. Wow. I would like to lose weight, but I would also like to continue building my resilience. I learned that I have some good stuff stored, and I would like to keep building on.
Well, Jen, listen, you look great. So I think that's probably, something you don't have to really focus on. So I'm just being observant. Jen, listen, keep up the great work. You are certainly a voice in the community when it comes to raising awareness and being an advocate for mental health awareness. And now more than ever, we need professionals like yourself to be out there to preach the good word. And at the same time, tell everybody that, listen, times are tough. Be a little vulnerable, but at the same time, if you're doing the right thing to put yourself in a position to succeed, not just only physically, economically, but more importantly, mentally, then you're going to be in a much better shape going into the new year. So, Jen, again, thank you so much for joining us. Best wishes for a happy 2021. And so we appreciate your contributions here on Liquid Lunch on Biz TV. Take care, okay?
Thank you.
All right, folks, great segment there with Jennifer Bohr Cuevas. Again, certainly an amazing licensed clinical social worker. Folks, we'll be right back right here on Biz TV. You're watching a Money Monday right here. Liquid Lunch. I'm Fernando Uribe. We'll be right back after these messages.